Welcome back to RevZolutions. Today we have taken out the Honda CBR650R from Crescent Honda up in Southampton, and again, with fantastic weather, perfect to come out and do some test rides. It was raining earlier, but thankfully it is all calmed down. So we've got the 2020 Honda CBR650R. This is a really nice sports touring motorcycle. It has a liquid cooled 4-stroke 16 valve double overhead cam inline 4-cylinder engine, which gives nice low range power, and also it does give itself a nice bit of poke when you open the throttle a little bit harder. It's a 649cc engine. Now the power of this Honda CBR650R comes in at 94 brake horsepower at a respectable 12,000 RPM, so it's quite high up the rev range, as you'd expect from most bikes. You've really got to go through those revs to get your most power. Now the torque on this bike is a lot lower on this one, so you're looking at 6,500 RPM for 64 Newton meters of torque. And as I was just saying, when you do move the bike, you can feel it moves quite nicely. It's got that low range power which does pull comfortably. It's not overly excessive for the roads. It's a respectable amount of power. Realistically, do you need more power than what this CBR650R has? Probably not. It does the job nice and comfortably. I don't think it's underpowered. I don't think it's overpowered. It's a good mediocre bike. Now the seat height on this bike comes in at 810 millimeters. I'm 5'7". I have no problem whatsoever flat footing this bike. It's very simple. I'll just get on the bike now and give you a quick show. So I'm pretty much flat footed there, comfortable as anything. I've stopped a few times and I can get my foot down nice and easy without having to have any concerns about losing my footing on the ground, because it is that low seat height. Now the fuel capacity for this bike is 15.4 litres, so I think at today's fuel prices you're going to be looking around about the £15 to £16 mark to fill up a full tank of petrol. The front tyre size on this bike, you're looking at 120 by 70, and there's a 17-inch rim on the front. The rear, you've got your nice fat 180 rear, a 55, and again a 17-inch rim, so they're both exactly the same size rims on this bike, which should make for getting the pricing for new tyres quite comfortable. Now the front brakes on this bike, you've got a 310mm by 4.5mm disc with a 4-pot piston caliper, and at the rear you've got a 240mm by 5mm disc with a single piston caliper. The curb weight of this bike comes at 207 kilograms, which is a nice, easy, comfortable weight to maneuver about. When you are moving on this bike, it does feel very, very light. Turning the roads, U-turns, you name it, this bike just feels so light. It's quite scary how light this bike feels, really. It's not going to cause you any issues. I'm sure if you drop it to lift it up, it will be quite a problem. Now the front suspension and the front forks on this bike, you're looking at, it comes with a Showa separate function fork. They're not adjustable from what I can see, it's just a fixed setup on the front. And the rear suspension is a mono 10-stage preload adjuster. It's attached to your aluminium cast swing arm. So all in all, this bike is very, very simple, nice easy setup, and let's go through the bike. So with the styling, now the styling, I do like this bike. It is pretty nice. You've got the rear tail tidy on this one. Hasn't got a pillion seat, however it does come with pillion pegs, so that's obvious that you can change it. You can put a pillion on the back. The bike would have enough grunt to be able to pull 2 people. I don't doubt that 1 second. But the seat is very, very stylish. I'd personally keep that, take the rear pegs off, job done. The rear tail, again, at the end of the day, it has to be compliant with the new regulations, so it does come past the rear of the tyre. You can probably get a nice easy tail tidy on this and it will just shorten that and make it a lot nicer. But as it stands, if I was to buy this bike, I wouldn't change that just yet, but it would be something I would definitely change. This has a nice matte black finish on this bike with a nice red pinstripe going around it, which just breaks up that detailing quite nicely. You've got your Honda logo in the middle there. Again, it's a nice logo that Honda have designed for their bikes, and it does set it off quite nicely as well. Again, not too much detail, but just enough just to give it a nice look. Now the windscreen on this bike, it is a black windscreen. You can see through it. It is tinted, but it's I think the styling on it is, again, very nice. I think if you had a white windscreen on it, it just would look a bit naff, to be honest. Coming to the front of the bike, we've got a nice sleek angled arrowed face here. The nose drops down nicely, and then you've got your LED headlights which come in at a real sharp angle towards that nose, which again looks absolutely fantastic on this bike. Gives it that nice racy edge to it. The indicators on this just stick out nicely from the front. They're not too intrusive. The wind mirrors, these can bend inwards. They are stiff. You might want to loosen that up with the Allen key, but you can get that through a gate if you need to, or anything like that. The actual wind mirror on here adjusts, the glass stays still. So some bikes like the VFR 800 and the Suzuki GSX-R 750, the glass actually adjusts and the whole wind mirror arm stays still. So it's easy to pull it in, pull it out without adjusting your view. This one's slightly different. Coming to the front of the bike here, we've got the Nissan 4-pot piston caliper dual braking system. They are quite stylish. Again, you've got your reflector there for safety. It's got ABS braking on this bike. Now, this is something I do like on this one. You've got this little cutout where the fairing pulls down to the bottom, and you can see the exhaust pipes really nice on there, and they're nice and shiny. So that is a nice little bit of detail there. I keep them polished just so you can see those four exhaust pipes coming straight down. They obviously come into the exhaust system down here, which is a stock exhaust system on this Honda. It's not fancy, it's not flash, it's just your basic stock exhaust system. Your swing arm, cast aluminium. Again, it's nice and light, it's black. Not much more we can say about that, really. I do, however, like the gold engine casing on this. I think that just sets it off nicely. It gives it a slight bit of difference to most bikes where they're silver or black. This has got a nice gold engine casing on that one. I would definitely be looking at getting some crash protection on this, because you wouldn't want to scratch that up. That would look quite rubbish. I think it would probably go silver if you end up scratching it. The seat on this bike is a comfortable one. It's not too hard, not too soft. It's a firm seat. I think after a few hours in the saddle you would want to get up and stretch, but it's not too difficult. Now, the seating position and the leg position on this bike, as you can see, it's quite comfortable. It's not too bent on the leg. When you hold on to the handles, you are relatively upright, so you're not going to end up with a backache or anything like that, neck ache. You might get a little bit of a neck ache because you are going to be looking up slightly, but it's nothing like a full sports bike. The clutch is very light, which is another nice feature of it, which makes for your riding a lot effortless. But all in all, this is a pretty good bike. I would definitely recommend taking it out for a test ride, and yeah, it is a good bike. So the wind mirrors, they're not too bad. That's what you'd expect on a motorcycle. Nothing fancy, no amazing visibility. It does the job that it needs to do. You can just about see behind you. Obviously, if you bring your arms in a little bit, you can see a bit more. Other than that, they're not too bad. This bike doesn't have a quick shifter. However, I have been told that they do come with quick shifters. It's an optional extra you can have. This one is in the matte black. It's quite a nice looking bike. This was next to the Fireblade when I picked it up from Crescent Honda, and it looked the business. Very nice looking bike. The display when you're riding, I've got a black on like a creamy yellow display, and that's quite easy to read. You know, you just look down, it stands out nicely. It's not a bad display. Now, the handlebar position, the handlebars are fixed below the top of the forks. However, they are stepped up slightly, so you're not leaning forward like you would do on a full-blown sports bike like a Fireblade or a GSX-R or an R1. So it is slightly more comfortable on your back. You're not arched over. However, you can arch over if you want. So the acceleration on this, very nice. Gets up nice and quick. The clutch is extremely low. I just pulled that in. It hardly even felt like I was operating a clutch. Yeah, that is really nice. I like that. The brake lever, that is adjustable. Like most bikes these days, most easy adjustable brake lever. I don't believe this one has heated grips. I don't know if that's an option that Honda can do. On the left you've got your hazards, your horn, your indicators, your high and your low beam. The selection for the display is all in the middle, nice and straightforward. Now the seat is relatively hard, I'm not going to lie, it's not overly comfortable, but likewise it's not rock hard. You can get away with using that. So far I've been on the bike for a few minutes and yeah, I'm enjoying it. I think if you want a sports bike, you're not going to be going for this bike. You're going to want your full racing, low handles, aggressive style. This is quite upright. I'd say this is a sports touring motorcycle. Your legs aren't in a cramped up position. They're nice and stretched out for a semi-sports bike. On the right hand side of the handlebars you've got your electric start, your kill switch, and that's it. Very, very simple setup on this bike. It's very easy to control this bike. It's very agile. The manoeuvrability of it is very simple. Now would I buy this bike? Personally I wouldn't, and my reasons behind that is, if I wanted an upright bike, I think I would have to go for a proper sports tourer, panniers, top box, you name it. Riding comfort, a bit more fairings on the front end, heated grips, a bit more luxury. So it's definitely a bike to consider if you want a general purpose motorbike that's not going to break the bank. I think it's got about 94 brake horsepower, this bike, so it's got more than enough power for the road. So once again, I just want to thank you all for joining RevZolutions today to check out the Honda CBR650R. If you haven't already, click on that notifications for any more videos that we upload, and also hit your subscribe button and get following the RevZolution. We're going to be uploading videos every Friday for automotive, and we're also looking at doing some Amazon reviews on Mondays potentially. So there'll be a little bit of shaking up on the RevZolutions side of things. So we'll try and make an all-round review website, and that will be coming shortly. But for the moment, it will be an all-round YouTube channel. So please give us a thumbs up if you like it. Leave some comments in the description below. Till next time, thank you.